672. That's the exact amount of minis I've painted this year. And here, not even all of them. Hi everyone, and welcome to the Exalted Wargamer. My name is Stan, and today is a kinda special video. There won't be a regular tutorial, but instead I'm going to show you all the minis I painted through this year. And I started this year with some Horus Heresy. I've painted some Night Lords. And it's not like your regular Night Lords with lightning and bold bright armor. Instead I tried some sponges, some grimdark style, some blood splashes, and at the moment I kinda like them, but after a couple months I lost my interest to this army, and in spring I returned to Horus Heresy one more time and I tried to paint some Iron Warriors. And here I'm used the plastic Mark 6 power armor guys and the upgrade pack to make the Mark 5 out of them. And again, in the moment I really liked them, but after a couple of weeks, no interest at all. The final time I returned to Horus Heresy at winter, and I tried to paint a couple of test Blood Angels with a bold red color scheme and more muted down. So yeah, I'm really not quite sure about the Horus Heresy. I really want to make an army for this game, but I can't just choose any one legion and stick with them. Like, I don't know, I equally love all of them and I can't choose. So if you know the solution, if you know how to choose the legion, write it down in the comments. And I probably try to finish like 15,000 points of Horus Heresy next year. Like, I don't know, I really want, but I can't. But there are some games that really grab all my attention, and first of all, in the old world, I painted like a quite big empire army from the Wissenland, and I have some spearmen, I have swordsmen, crossbowmen, knights, bunch of heroes, cannon, some archers. And initially, when the old world were released a couple years ago, I wasn't really excited about it. It felt a bit wrong, like it felt too Hero Hammer, like centered around monsters, powerful heroes, mages, etc. But this summer everything changed, and GDAP released the 1.5 FAQ that shifted the meta more to the infantry, make the game less heroic-centric, and that's what I like. Like, I really like the infantry-heavy armies in each game. So yeah, I stick with the game and I really enjoyed it. I painted that around 1,000 points of Empire and I want to expand it. And later this year I also started to paint my undead army. I painted like the core, some 20 zombies, 20 skeletons, the vampire count, and I want to paint more for both of these armies, like maybe even some other armies. We have local foray tournament on the 3rd of January, and I want to boost my undead army up to 700 points. So I want to add a couple heroes, maybe necromancer, crypt ghouls, knights, so something like that. And speaking of other big GDAP games, I also returned to Warhammer 40k this year. Like, before I played the 7th edition, 6th edition, and then I skipped the 8th, 9th and half of 10th edition, but I started to collect the Imperial Guard. Like, again, I love the Horde infantry armies, and I painted this tank, like a couple of units of Krieg infantry, this commissar, the combat engineers, and at the moment I was really excited. Like, GDAP released the Krieg box, and I bought like tons of these horses, Krieg command squads, heavy weapon teams, all that stuff. But at some point it just broke me a bit. It took me too long to paint this army at the level I want, and I don't want to rush it, but I still want to play 40k. I skipped like half a year again and turned to 40k at the autumn with my other attempt, Adeptus Custodes. They felt like completely opposite to the Imperial Guard, like super elite army with almost demigods. I decided I can paint them quite fast and just play with them, and in the meantime to continue to paint my guard quality I want. So yeah, and for Custodes I painted a unit of Terminators, a unit of Guard, and this fancy Blade Champion. Also, I take part in a local team tournament, and I want to make them all at least battle ready. Like, I have 1 more unit of Guard, 2 units of Wardens, and a couple heroes. I already painted the Sisters of Silence, I just need to put pigments, so I don't show them yet. And as I said in the intro, that's not even all minis I painted through this year. Like, realistically, it's not even half. The most of the minis I painted this year were commissions, like different commissions, and probably the most important of them was the commission of a full Heroes of Might and Magic board game. Of course, it's a board game, so the quality of plastic and the sharpness of details is not as good as I want, but it's really a kind of passion project because it's a game of my childhood. But it was quite hard because, yeah, designs were quite simple, but all the minis are kind of different. Like, it's not a Warhammer when all your guardsmen, for example, can wear green uniforms. Even within one faction in Heroes of Might and Magic, somebody wore blue robes, somebody wore red robes, etc. Like, all creatures are different. So yeah, it was really fun challenge. And speaking of fun challenges, I also painted this entire Emperor's Children army as a commission, and here the goal was to paint the new release wave of Emperor's Children to match the color scheme of the client's old army, like again back from the 6th and 7th edition. This kind of unique pearl armor, it's not quite pink, it's not quite purple, and I really like it. In this project I tried the colorful oil paints for the first time. Like, typically I used only black and burnt umber or burnt sienna. This time I used the blue and purple oil paints, and it worked quite well. Like, you know, the Chaos Space Marines in general and Emperor's Children are considered as kind of hard to paint armies because all these golden trims and details, but I kind of nailed it, and I painted tons of them. I painted 30 probably, like regular Marines, 18 Noise Marines, couple of heroes, the Lucius the Eternal, and the Demon Prince. Like, Demon Prince were really great mini and fun to paint. Also, there were a couple less interesting commission projects. For example, this enormous army of Traitor Guard. I painted it for a friend of mine, and he converted all his minis from the Solar Auxilia and some Imperial Guard. The conversions are quite good, like really interesting concept and designs, but the color scheme are not my favorite part of them. Like, my friend asked for really grimdark, like black grays with only red glowing eyes as a spot color. So yeah, I painted plethora of them, like 200 infantry minis, like dozen tanks, some artillery, lots of heroes, and it was quite hard. And the other thing, I painted a lot of different kill teams this year as commissions for the local community. Like, I paint this Nurgle Space Marines in a kind of heresy color scheme with white and green instead of the modern green colors. I also paint lots of Space Marine kill teams, this Angels of Death, this Phobos, the newest Death Watch, some Guards kill teams, the Castle King, again some more Kriegers but in different color scheme, like mine were green and these were like grey and blue. From all these kill teams, probably the most fun were Death Watch. I have commissioned to paint them at a bit higher level than typically, and I really have lots of fun painting this black armor. Not shiny black, but warm matte black, and I also made the video about this so you can see it. That were kind of all of commissions. Maybe I paint some other different random stuff like minis here, minis there. Yeah, I painted some demons, some Slanish demons, and the Bloodthirst, not Bloodthirst, it was the Scarbrand, like named big demon. Returning to my personal projects, this year I really dipped my toes to these historical war games. I never played the historicals before, and it really catched my attention a lot. Like, first of all, I started with some Baron's War, which released 2nd edition this year, and we with my friend buy 2 starter sets. Like, we built and paint half of each starter set and have some games, and surprisingly the local community really liked this game. Like, now we have around 5, maybe 6 people playing this game. So yeah, I have the starting retinue, it's built for the starting scenario. I have some peasants with spears, I have a bunch of knights, I have some sergeants at arms, and I have some archers. Only the main baron of this retinue is a real historical person, like Sir Henry de Bohun. All of other heraldic stuff are kinda created by me, like I use some historical motifs, but generally I just paint whatever I want. And this army kinda set one of the main themes for me for this year. I figured out that I really like to paint the armies where every mini a bit different from the other, like this bunch of peasants, these are like ragtag bands, some were like greens, yellows, browns, etc. Overall, it's not a challenge to make the whole force look like cohesive force still. For example, in this retinue, I tried to do this through the blue color. Like even the lowest peasants typically have something blue, and knights have more, but all of them were different uniforms. Same for my old world armies. All my undeads are completely different. They were all sorts of muted, desaturated colors on their clothes. And vampire, like, yeah, Vinland is overall like were gray and white uniforms, but different regiments have different colors. For example, my spearmen were lots of red, my swordsmen used yellow, and my crossbowmen black, etc. Altogether, they still read as a cohesive force because the main colors like gray and white. And turning to the historicals, next thing that catch my attention is the saga. I painted this Anglo-Danish warband, 2 points of warriors, 1 point of levy archers, and 3 points of huscarls, which I typically use as two separate units, so I armed 6 of them with spears and 6 of them with swords. Also I have like my warlord with a great Danish axe on bigger kind of diorama base, and a couple mercenaries or heroes or specialists, however you call them, like monk and champion. And here, again, all my minis were different colors on the uniforms. As I say, there are no uniforms. And in this project, I tried to use some gray oils to turn down all the colors a bit and to achieve the grim dark, like middle age, early middle age look. And the most fun part for me in this project was to paint all the different shields, because the shield is kind of the biggest detail of each warrior. It draws attention instantly, and I paint all shields differently. Like, of course, you can buy the decals and put it, but I tried just to recreate some of these decal designs by freehands, and it's quite simple. Like, my warriors use really simple patterns and designs on their shield, and for the huscarls I added a bit more details, but yeah, overall it doesn't take too long. And the final historical project, fun one but kind of a small one, is Silver Bayonet. It's a gothic Napoleonic horror that took time in the start of 19th century. I wanted to try some Napoleonic stuff for a long time, but you know, when you say Napoleonic, you instantly think about the big armies, maybe even epic scale with like tens thousands of miniatures, because it's how the combat worked that days, like, you know, the line tactics, all that stuff. And I always were a bit scared to invest that much to be able to play. So the Silver Bayonet feels like a perfect starting point to try to paint in this epoch, in this style, because it's a skirmish game. You have like 7-8 minis per side, and they're all quite characterful. So I started this Austrian-Hungarian warband. I researched like the colors of the uniform of different regiments. Here you can see some Austrians, some Hungarian guys with the blue trousers, some Grenzers, Dampier, this Hussar. So yeah, and again, they all wear different kinds of uniform, but feel like a cohesive force. And on this project I also discovered that I really like to paint gray color. Same for my Empire army. Like, gray color traditionally considered as a kind of boring color to paint, but in fact you can make them really different, like warm gray, cold gray, adding the different tones like purples, blues, reddish browns. So yeah, nowadays I try to use as much gray as possible on different my armies. And the other thing I started this year is the Conflict 47. It's a pseudo-historical war game based on the bolt action, like in around World War II. This year they launched new edition. So yeah, I jumped straight into it, and even before my first attempt in Conflict 47 were like in September. I tried to paint even before the release of new edition, just kit bash some bolt action Germans and paint them in kinda sci-fi camo, like not real one. And at first I thought I will paint the new starter sets in the same style, but something felt wrong. Like, I don't know, they look kind of fine, but I don't like something about that. And then when the new starter sets came out, I bought one, my friend bought one, and we split them. So he took 2 American parts, I took 2 Axis parts, and I started to think how to paint them. And I thought, what if I paint them like the Italians? Because I have Italians as my bolt action army. So yeah, why not to paint this Conflict 47 Axis like the Italians? Because in local war, half of Italians stick with Axis and half with allies. So yeah, why not? And I paint this All-Style Truppen, or should I say Truppe d'acciaio of the Italians, and Tarantulas, and this leader in this kind of dark green Italian color for the tanks that they use in moderate climates. Really fun little project, and I painted them in 12 hours. You can again see the painting tutorial here on this channel. The only leftovers are some kind of random stuff that I paint through this year. First of all, I painted this small warband for the Mordheim. I'm not a big fan of Mordheim, it feels a bit dated, but one evening my friends like text me, just let's do just one solo mission and have some fun, and I like, okay, but I need the warband, and I just printed these guys from the Highland miniatures and painted them in a couple of evenings, and yeah, they look kind of fine. I chose this High Elves Shadow Warriors warband. I'm not sure again that I want to paint the full army files, but I want to try this minis. It turns out kind of okayish. I'm not really happy with the color of their skin. It's too yellowish maybe, but I tried to make them kind of inhuman because like elves. We played this one game with the hunting on the Manticore in the center of the map, and it was really fun. But I never touched these warbands in that time. And the other random thing is Militia Force for the Black Ops. We with my friends again just find this random game from the Osprey games about the modern conflicts. And yeah, I just printed these guys, paint them really fast with just some contrast paints, kinda in 3 or 4 hours, and I call it done. It's definitely not the greatest paint job. I really barely can call it paint job at all. Next random thing is some War Machine. It's kind of resurrected now. I always were interested in War Machine, but nobody playing the area around me. Now a couple of my friends have decided to try, so yeah. First of all, I painted these Cephalax Drudges, 3D printed models from my manufacturer by the War Machine. They kind of find these Frankenstein monstrosities. But then I bought the new plastic set with the Kador, and I painted only the Warjack, but I chose not the classic red Kador skin, but this greenish military one, like Soviet green skin. And I'm still not sure if I like the new War Machine or not. I maybe need to try more, but it's kinda I just didn't find my faction at the moment, because initially I wanted to collect the Sinar Trenchers, but my friend also wanted to collect them, so I passed it, and now he collected the Sinar and I still looking. So maybe I will collect the new Trollkin, this kind of jungle fighters, new ones, old pirates, or maybe the Crucible Guard, so we will see. And finally, I have some kind of really random minis. I have one Chaos Space Marines. At some point I thinking about painting some Space Marines. I have this guy from Malifor, I don't remember how it's called. I have one Ganger from the Necromunda, just small painting experiments, and a couple of minis from the Age of Sigmar, this Free Guild Steelhelm, and the Stormcast Eternals that I painted for the Squidmar Open last year and took the bronze, so I'm quite happy. But overall, I'm not a big fan of Age of Sigmar now. I played lots of Age of Sigmar in the 3rd edition, but 4th edition is kinda miss for me, so I'm not sure I will paint any Age of Sigmar next year, but maybe in the 5th edition, like, I don't know really. Now, speaking of this year, like, what the biggest hits and misses for me? Probably the biggest miss for me from all these armies is the Horus Heresy. As I said, I really want to collect and paint Horus Heresy, but I just can't choose any legion and stick with that. Yeah, I will be happy with any advices how to choose. And the other one is maybe the Saga Warband, because I really like the Saga as a game, but I'm not quite happy with my paint job here. Maybe the using of foils were a mistake. They all are quite desaturated, not as impressive on the battlefield as in hands. But I want to paint them, I will just play with this army, and I definitely will play more Saga in different historical periods, probably Chivalry. I already printed some guys. For the next army I make them brighter. Like kinda like my Baron's War stuff, I really like how it turned out. And speaking of the best minis, my personal favorites is probably all the old world stuff. I really like this game. It's really nostalgic for me because I played the 6th, 7th and 8th edition, mostly 8th, and the most of my old world stuff is from the Highland miniatures, so it's like printed, but maybe in New Year I'll try some G-Dub plastic stuff. The other big hit for me is probably the Baron's War. The game itself is not really balanced, but I really like the new plastic minis by Wargames Atlantis, and I hear that in New Year the Footsore miniatures will create the new lists, like for the Outcasts, for Trenches, for Scots, etc. Maybe I will build the other retinue, like probably Outcasts and Mercenaries. Yeah, that's kinda all for today. All these minis that I painted through the year, and the next year I probably will paint less, because I completely cut down all the commissions. I don't do commissions anymore because at some point I just realized I can't make the content for the YouTube, paint the commissions and paint for myself. I need to sacrifice something, and it was the commissions. And what's your favorite project of the previous year? What's your last favorite project previous year? Like, write it all down in the comments below. But that's all for today. Thank you for watching, Merry Christmas and see you next year. Bye.